Radyo-Katipunan 87.9 FM. This is your stop for all things pop. Catch our all-around pop culture geek, Cholo Sediaren, as he throws in some dose of what's poppin' and what's hot in the pop culture scene here on Popcorn. Munch in with us every Thursdays from 4 to 6, only here on Radyo-Katipunan 87.9 FM.
Nasistress ka na ba? Nagpapanik o natatakot dahil sa COVID-19? Normal lang ang ganitong mga reaksyon sa ngayon. Pero may magagawa ka para mapagtagumpayan ang sitwasyon na ito. Ituloy lang ang pangangamusta sa mga kamag-anak at kaibigan gamit ang text, tawag o video. Tiyakin na ang mga bata ay ligtas at nasa maayos na kalagayan. Gawin sa bahay ang mga nakasanayan upang hindi mabagot o mabalisa sa panahong ito. Sa wastong pag-iingat, ang virus hindi kakalat. COVID-19, kayang-kaya nating tapusin.
Radyo, 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 katipunan. Radyo, radyo, katipunan. Radyo, radyo, katipunan. Radyo, katipunan. Radyo, katipunan.
Are you feeling sore? We can make that better. Tune in to the Ateneo Senior High School's first radio program, SOAR, the Seniors On Air Radio, where you can listen to music you want straight from our playlists. Don't change that channel yet, because SOAR is ready to put the you in youth. SOAR, Seniors On Air, here on Radyo-Katipunan 87.9 FM. The Jesuit Hour.
Wait, what? No! Let's try that again. Join the fun bunch of the Hugot Hour with Father J-Boy as we talk about anything and everything under the sun. Share your everyday Hugot moments and everyday Hugot quotes. G, tara na! Usap tayo. Bring your own baon. Bring your own Hugot. The Hugot Hour with Father J-Boy and friends gathers every Monday at 6:30 to 8 in the evening. Only here on Radio Katipunan 87.9 FM. Want to find out more about the famed org community of the Ateneo?
Yeah.
Wondering what projects and initiatives our student organizations are currently up to? Curious to hear the perspectives and motivations of the different people that make up the org community? Tara na't magkwentuhan! Kwentuhang MVP takes you to the vibrant and passionate organization community of the Ateneo de Manila. Tune in every Friday as we catch up with our student leaders and our organizations and find out how they're continually pushing forth with their advocacies. Kwentuhang MVP, taking the MVP to you.
Radyo-Katipunan. News, insights, inspiration. Radyo-Katipunan. Down from the hill and down to the world. Radyo-Katipunan. The voice of the Blue Eagle.
Radyo, 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 katipunan. Radyo, katipunan. Radyo, katipunan. Radyo, 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 katipunan. Radyo, katipunan. The voice of the Blue Eagle, kami di mapipigil sa pagbabalitang tumpak at tama. Buhay atenista sa loob sa labas ng eskwela, ating ibibida lahat ng eskwela. Radyo, radyo, katipunan. Radyo, radyo, katipunan. Radyo, katipunan. Katipunan. Kawal ni Ignacio, katipunero sugo. Todo sa kayo, tulong at tulong.
This is your stop for all things pop. Catch our all-around pop culture geek, Cholo Sediaren, as he throws in some dose of what's poppin' and what's hot in the pop culture scene here on Popcorn. Munchin' with us every Thursdays from 4 to 6, only here on radyo-katipunan 87.9 FM.
What's poppin', and welcome to Popcorn with Cholo Sediaren, your stop for all things pop, where we talk about all things pop culture from here in the Philippines to the rest of the globe. Happy New Year! Happy 2022! Happy nga ba? Or happy same old year? Who knows? But welcome back to the show, and we are here for our first edition for this year. But before we begin, let's introduce our co-hosts. We have Paula back on the show. Welcome back.
What's up?
We
Happy
also
New
have
Year.
Perns. Medyo, hello Perns.
Hello, hello.
Medyo, it's a small panel today, but it's just more of like warming up to start the year and really just recap some things over the holiday break and what we're excited for this year. So yun, I mean, how was the holidays? We last had our episode about like year end, our favorite things from the year. How has the holiday break been for you guys? Especially, it's been a wild last 2 weeks for everyone, I think. Now that we're back home again, and I mean, we're fortunate enough na makapag-quarantine ulit tayo parang in our homes, but like other people have to go through so many random like laws, like no vax, no ride. That doesn't really make sense, right? So kamusta yung break nyo, holiday break, extended break for some, including myself?
Yeah. I had a really good break. I mean, I had a 3-week break, so that in itself was like really, really fun for me. I got to relax and was presented with a lot of new opportunities for the coming year. So I was very excited about that heading into the new year as well. And importantly, spent a lot of time with friends and family, like friends virtually, family. Thankfully, like we were able to physically be with each other and safely be around each other. But yeah, it was good, just to kind of stop working for for a little while.
Same though, I also got to relax. I got a lot of rest over the past few weeks. I got to eat more because it was the holiday season. It is an excuse to pig out. But I think I also got sick. I don't know. I got sick, so I don't know if it was COVID or not. We
Okay.
will never know. But so the year is already off to a up and down start. So
I would have to agree because I have unfortunately been one of the people who caught COVID over that insane surge na
Yeah.
yun. Literally, ikaw yung 20% kung ikaw yung nakaligtas sa mga panahong yun na everyone left and right. I made a joke saying it's not just everyone and their brother, but it's everyone and like 4 of their friends who got COVID at that time. But thankfully enough, it was also some time to take some time off and rest and recover. And now we're doing better. Thank God. And I hope to everyone tuning in, you're staying safe and you have all the things that you need to prepare for if you do hopefully not get it, because it's so easy, especially with this new variant Omicron. Is really the speed of like transmission is really
Yeah.
crazy. So yun, a lot of catching up that happened over that period of time. Syempre, as usual, everyone holidays, it was nice having that kind of normalcy for that December period before everything went down, diba? So yun, this episode will be more of like doing that. What did we catch up on? What are ano mga pinag-uusapan ngayon online, aside of course from the memes and like typical issues that are going around the internet. There's a lot of pop culture events, I think, that happened na people have been talking about. And we'll be talking about that. I guess let's start with what let's start with the 2022 opener, which was the Harry Potter 20th anniversary special of the
HBO.
Sorcerer's Stone or the Philosopher's Stone, the first film in the series, and having that whole thing, especially Paula here, who is our biggest Potterhead in this group. How was that for you?
Um, I mean, again, like I'm probably like the biggest Harry Potter fan that a lot of people around me know, and I was greatly disappointed by the 20th anniversary special. It's a big deal. 20 years like of one film, and the impact that that one film had. Like that's not a light matter, diba? And it was something na talagang the same way that the Friends reunion was really like anticipated. In that level, ganun din naman yung anticipation ng mga tao for the Potter reunion. And it just left me feeling a little flat. Parang there wasn't a lot of information in the
Yeah.
special that any dedicated Harry Potter fan didn't already know.
Yeah, that's
Like,
true. Yes.
diba, you could just watch the DVD specials and you would know a lot of the things that they were talking about. What makes reunions special is really the reunion aspect of it, and that was like the biggest part that was missing in the 20th special. I don't know if everybody noticed it, but they weren't all in the same room, like the three of them. Because if they were, there would be like more hugging scenes or like more of those like physical contacts with each other. Na very clearly Rupert and Emma lang yung meron, and everybody else who was in England. Like Dan was very clearly in the States. Close kami, no? I'm just calling him Dan. But, like, this is just how I've been talking about
Pero ang
Harry
galing
Potter.
Parang if you wouldn't have said that, I wouldn't have noticed. Like,
Yeah.
ang galing nung editing nila to
To be
make it
fair,
appear like
Oo.
they were in the same room, right?
Yeah. But like I wish there was just more of that. Sana yun na lang. Like I didn't really need a lot of the interviews of it all, the casting processes. Parang or if they would show like previous footage. Sana it was footage that we had never seen before as
Yes.
fans.
Oo.
Pero there wasn't a lot of that eh. The
It
only
really
interview
felt like parang really an extended 20th
Featurette.
anniversary featurette na parang
Yeah.
sure, like, yeah, but what do we get out of it? Like the Friends reunion, no, parang had all those interesting insights and like mga
Yeah.
pakulo nila to
Mhm.
make it fresh and like make everyone really excited, including, I guess, Justin Bieber wearing like a random costume in a runway. At least, that's something that they tried to do, like make it like different. And this one just
Yeah.
felt like, let's just put a bunch of things together and bring back people, but not necessarily bring anything new to the picture.
Yeah. I was just really disappointed. And of course, like there was a lot of press about transphobe writer not being there, but there was a lot of archive footage of her, which I understand that you can't really make a special about the source material without mentioning her. But there was just too much of her in it, I think, for them to like put out all of that press about not having her there. Yeah, the only interviews that I appreciated was Robbie Coltrane's. He had that really wonderful line din naman kasi of like, in 20 years, Harry Potter will still exist, and while he won't be there, Hagrid still will. At which point, umiiyak na ako. Only because, he's sick, and it's just, it was nice seeing him then. But yeah, sana nag-Zoom reunion na lang sila is basically what I'm trying to say. I feel like I would have appreciated that a lot more, just seeing them all interact with each other in some way.
Where I feel like, it's still nice to have something, I guess. But, it would have been even nicer if it was something more substantial in that matter. Parang, they all look good though. Like,
Oh yeah.
they aged really well versus like other people, I would say. And I feel like it's just crazy to think that it's been 20 years and it only feels like yesterday that we were younger seeing these for the first time and like really the excitement of a new book coming out since naabutan pa natin yung era na yun na ubusan everywhere, pilahan
Yeah.
in the bookstores, that you know, that was a collective experience that I feel like nawala na yung ganun ngayon.
Yeah.
Not maybe even just thinking about pre-pandemic days na parang there wasn't like any hype na of like on book releases as
Yeah.
we had that hype before with every new Harry Potter, Hunger Games, Twilight. That was such a collective experience of like hunting down the book because you don't know
Yeah.
which branch still has it.
Mm-mm.
Minsan natira na lang yung paperback or yung hardbound. Alam mo yun, yung mga
Oo.
ganong experiences. And then you just, you know, that's a parang wala na yung ganong collective experience ngayon. And it's just nice and crazy to think na that was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And now it's just like we're just looking back at it and it just feels like yesterday, essentially.
Yeah, may mga anak na yung isa sa Golden Trio. Seamus Finnegan also has a son now, and it's wild. It's funny to think that these actors na we essentially grew up with, not naman na kaedad natin sila, you know, like exactly, but you know, we saw them grow up in front of our eyes, and it's crazy to think where they are now in life and where we are, like on the flip side also. So yeah.
Well, in the words of the musical Hamilton, look at where we are.
Look at where you started.
The fact that we're
We're
alive,
alive is a
is
miracle.
a miracle. And, you know, that would be enough.
Oh, but what a segue. Are we talking about Encanto? Is that what's happening?
Oh, is that why? Is that why?
Well, that's a great speaking of transition. Speaking of magic and speaking of Lin-Manuel Miranda, one of the things that was released over the holiday break was Encanto, the latest, the 60th Disney animation film. It actually came out in theaters pa here before MMFF happened.
Early December, yeah.
Speaking of MMFF, sadly enough, that didn't really work out as well as I think people were expecting it to. And I think it was a bit too early for them to reopen a festival as huge as the MMFF in cinemas. You know, although medyo normal na yung panahon that time, I feel like there's still a lot of hesitancy of going back to cinemas. And I did get to watch 2 movies, which is Whether the Weather is Fine and Big Night. Naabutan ko pa yun sa MMFF. And congratulations for winning Best Film during the MMFF. But yeah, parang, you know, I would have, as I mentioned in our last episode, I really would have, I guess, appreciated it more if it were still the same online experience.
Yeah.
Kasi, you know, the accessibility of, you know, wala ka sa condition talaga na mag-binge watch ng MMFF sa
physically.
cinemas. Yeah, and parang I had also, although I had seen 2, parang I would have wanted to see more, but I was kind of iffy of like keeping on going out, especially at this time.
Yeah.
You know, I would have appreciated it if it was easier to access and just be able to watch what I want to watch at my own time and in my own space, you know. And, you know, sadly, yun na nga, naabutan din sila ng surge the second week of MMFF. I guess people were really just scared to go out or were already sick at that point. So, yun, MMFF. Any comments on that?
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure na a lot of people would have watched talaga if it was still online. I can see it. Like a lot of people would have watched nga Big Night and Whether the Weather.
Yeah.
And like even yung mga like the mainstream movies.
Exorcist.
People
And,
would have watched it online. I'm sure they would have, like, given the opportunity.
I would have really liked to have seen Love at First Stream, which is Kathy Garcia Molina's comeback after Hello, Love, Goodbye.
Yeah.
Pero wala. Naabutan din ako ng surge na parang, di na rin ako nakalabas to watch it. Although I'm sure that will be accessible soon enough on Netflix or KTX. Pero yun, parang missed opportunity, definitely.
Definitely.
And,
Definitely.
you know, MMFF has always been treated as quote unquote for the kids, right? And, you know, the fact that kids aren't even able to go out and watch is affecting that as well. And I was in line and yun na nga yung mga conversations sa mga tao na narinig ko na ano ba yung pangbata dyan or alam mo yun, something light, and there just wasn't much to offer for this round of MFF, including the circumstances, the lineup. It's just kind of like medyo malas lang din in terms of the context and like the situation. So that was MMFF for 2021. At least I guess I could say I continued my tradition of watching every year at least one movie since who knows when. But yeah, moving back to Encanto, yeah, it's been an online trend on Twitter, Facebook, si Abuela, Mirabel, of course, Bruno, who we shouldn't be talking about. What do you guys feel about Encanto and in general? Kasi, you know, there's a lot of buzz surrounding it.
Yeah. I love that for a non-Filipino movie, it felt very Filipino. And that speaks a lot to, you know, the similarities of like Hispanic culture and ours, which was wonderful to see. And I felt more represented by Encanto than I did with Raya. So, you know, there was that. There's something I think wonderful in the way that Disney has presented generational trauma in such an accessible way, and something that allows us to talk about, I mean, an experience that I'm sure majority of us have like gone through, and that's why Encanto I think is as popular as it is. I told Cholo then after I watched Encanto for the first time na I straight up like sobbed when I first heard Luisa's song,
Surface pressure.
Yeah, Surface Pressure. I don't know. And like it's a testament as well to how many people have felt like that strongly as well for that one particular song, and reduced so much people to tears. So it's not a perfect movie. Like, it's definitely far from that. There are a lot of things na I know na we see na kulang pa or could have been explored a little bit better. But for what it is and for what children are seeing like at such a young age and being able to like understand things like that, I think it was great. And it's definitely not just for the kids, kasi nga it's trending more for us, for people our age, than it is for the children. But yeah,
How do kids know what's trending?
I'm sure they do. I'm sure like whatever it is, diba?
On TikTok
Pinag-uusapan nila
now.
sa classrooms, yeah. So, ayun. I'm happy the movie exists. I'm happy that Lin-Manuel wasn't cast as Bruno. I love the man, but
I want to hear the demo, please.
it was nice to hear Sid the Sloth like come back to his animation.
Yeah.
So yeah, no. I'm
Pero
just
yeah, I would agree with that. Like in terms of the familial thing, it's definitely something close to home. Especially I guess for Asians and like Latinos who have that familial culture, and you know the pressure nga that comes along with it. You know, somebody has to be good at something. You can't just be like the normal person at the same time. But you know, sometimes that's just your role. We all serve different roles in our families, extended families, and whatnot, and that's really nice. I mean, the animation just keeps on getting better and better. I always say that with each and every animated movie that comes out. Na parang wow, totoo na ba to? Parang the other day I was just watching Cars 3 again, and like part of Cars 3 was already like, wow, this looks like it was shot in real life with actual cars, but it's just animated. And you know, it just keeps on leveling up. At this point, Cars was like 5 years ago, and Encanto is 2021 na. So parang, you know, it's just insane na the amount of animation, and it's nice. I wasn't like super head over heels over it. I think, when it comes to animated movies, syempre may mga golden gems
Tama.
lang din that come out every so often, and we're lucky enough kasi to have had those super big, mega big hits like Frozen, Moana, and all those, mega animated hits, and of course, mga Into the Spider-Verse. So, it's just nice also to just sometimes just watch mga ganitong movies. Well, while they're not exactly like the mind-blowing movies that, you'd expect out of every release. It's still nice and, very Disney, and
Yeah.
it's nice that they're expanding even more with other cultures
Oh yeah.
nowadays. And the next one that's coming out is Turning Red, which is
Turning
the
Red.
next
Yeah.
Disney Pixar movie, which is another Asian story that unfortunately streaming na naman siya, and we don't really get to. It's the third Pixar movie na
It's
direct to streaming, sadly. But these are the times that we live in. Perns, anything you wanted to say about Encanto?
Ano lang, like yun nga, what Disney does well, they do it really well nga. Like even if it's not gonna be really a really groundbreaking movie, but they know what people will emotionally react to, and yun nga, they did it right. And it in a very Disney way. Now obviously na they can't show the very mature side ng that sina abuela were forced out of their homes. That's
Yeah.
very mature. Like kids won't understand that, but
Yeah.
do that in a way na sobrang magets nila. Which is why I guess
Which is magic.
sobrang touched ako sa Dos Oruguitas
Yeah.
when I heard it. When I first heard it, I was like, oh wow, this is really nice. And then I searched the English translations, like, okay, that really hurt. That just really hurt talaga. But yun nga, so Disney's creatives, they know talaga. They just know. They just somehow they work around it. So they're getting there. They're getting there and making the perfect ano talaga. But good job. I'm happy that a lot of people are enjoying it. My Twitter feed is filled with Encanto.
Yeah. Same
Drawing.
on my TikTok.
Gosh.
Sabi nga nila, kung sa Pilipinas daw yon, ang pinag-aawayan nila ang mana kay Lolo
Lupa.
kay Abuela.
Lupa. 100%. Tsaka yun nga, the memeability, I think, of a film is a huge aspect nowadays into how successful it's going to be. And for some reason, Encanto was super memeable. In terms of the characters and the situation. The amount of like fake ads that I've seen made by Filipinos about Encanto is hilarious. As in like, because Isabella and all the flowers, diba? It's like either surf or
Downy.
or rejoice or downy. Ang galing, nakakatawa talaga. As in, ang dami. And I think that's great. It gets people interested in watching it as well. So, good for them.
Which is surprising. People would not have watched this in the cinemas.
And I don't think
Definitely
anyone
They
did.
would have not. But now that it's
No one
accessible to everyone, everyone's watching it.
Yeah.
So, diba? Ang galing.
Yeah, I mean, yun na nga, with the times that we're in, I feel like it's also parang streaming has become really the number one option na for most people rather than the movie-going experience, which of course we miss. But, it is what it is, and we'll have to see how that goes from here. Although, yun na nga, it was nice, Encanto. And, but yun, I feel like, there could have been, with the amount of characters and the wealth of stories you could tell, it's one of those movies that could have been series. Although I don't think kasi series would have a big, especially like Disney series, don't necessarily have as big an impact as would releasing it in a theatrical film. It's more on like making series out of these films and then making spin-offs, which is something you can definitely do with this Familia Madrigal na nakaabot na sa bahay namin. Gumawa sila nung arepa na pinapay dito because of TikTok and Encanto. So it didn't heal me or in any way, but it was good.
Your mom is not Julieta.
Yeah, we don't have a magical candle. We only have normal candles or like Lil Nas X candles, right? This is my magical candle. Stream Montero. Anyway, speaking of many characters, Disney Plus, and streaming, something that is already making the rounds in the internet is also The Eternals, the latest film. I mean, second to the latest film in the Marvel Studios, Marvel Cinematic Universe. Yun, it's kind of a mixed bag at this point still, and I think the room feels definitely iba-iba yung thoughts on internals. How would we want to begin? And definitely, I'm just bouncing off of the um, Encanto vibes because I feel like there's that kind of similar aspect in a sense
Mhm.
na the many characters, family experience, relationships that could have been explored more. I feel like in a different format. And all this movie is already like 2 hours and 30 minutes long, but you can only do so much, right? Especially given that these are completely new characters we haven't seen before and we have no experience with whatsoever, right? So, thoughts on Eternals? I will begin since I know Paula's thoughts on this. Well, I saw this first in theaters when it came out here, and I just really admired the bold risk that Marvel took in getting this, parang approaching it with this direction, which is completely different than what you'd see in the last 24 na ba 24 movies before it, something around that number. um it's a risk that did not necessarily pay off 100% of the time, but I appreciated that they were trying to do something different for once, at least on the aspect of films. And I know that they've been trying to like um switch it up with kind of different genres, different directors, compared to like the first three phases na medyo what you'd expect out of it,
Mhm.
except for some gems. This time around, you have martial arts with Shang-Chi. You'd have like an art film, a drama with Eternals. Of course, you'd have the typical fan service, fanboy extravaganza with Spider-Man, No Way Home, right? And all these experiences, I feel like are valid, but not always, they don't hit the mark 100%. And yeah, I mean, I did rewatch it again upon the digital release, and yeah, I feel like I appreciated it more pa nga this second time around. But I really like the visuals, definitely
Mhm.
breathtaking. You won't see it anywhere else because it's mostly shot on location then versus other Marvel films, right? And yeah, I just really like yung at the core of it, I feel like the familial relations, and what they say about being human. Na I feel like it's too a bit too complex to try and fit into like the 2 hour narrative.
Mhm.
Plus
Yeah.
all the world building, establishing of characters, and the conflict, all that. It's just a lot to
It's a lot.
take in. And dun ko lang siya na-appreciate sa second watch. Perns, you wanna
Yeah, yeah.
contribute
Like
that?
I think that's what made it. Hindi man, I don't know, for lack of a better word, did not do like fail. It didn't do well. Like there's a lot hinging on Eternals talaga. Like they're reintroducing more characters. They're banking on an artsy direction now, and like grabe, so much. There was so much hinging on what this could be, what it could be like, and wala. Siguro a lot of people's expectations just rose so high. But to be fair, it's not as bad as people are initially made it out to be. Like imagine when it first came out down in cinemas, people were saying it's the lowest rated MCU film. I was like, oh really? I don't see that. And then when I watched, I was like, no, it's not. It's not
Over
horrible.
the dark world.
Yeah, over Dark World. I was like,
It
no,
just
it's not
doesn't make
horrible.
sense.
I mean, it's so ang ganda ng visuals, like grabe. Like
Ah.
Chloe Zhao talaga fought talaga to make sure they shot on location daw eh. And you see why. That was exactly why Marvel decided to gamble on her. You get the visuals like this. And the visual effects were pretty okay naman eh, especially the gold, yung movement ni of the speedster. No, it's very it's different than everything than we've seen from Flash, than from
She's not
Quicksilver.
just she's
Yeah,
not just a light streak moving on the
exactly.
screen.
Galing. But and of course, I guess the big monster that it's required for a Marvel film. It gets sige magkakagulo na dun. Pero it's not that it's really not that bad talaga. I don't love it, but I definitely do not hate it. So, and because it's Chloe Zhao, paglalaban ko siya. Yeah, I will defend Chloe Zhao. It's not her fault. If anything, I'm gonna blame Marvel for placing so much bets on this na grabe, there was so much hinging on this movie talaga.
I
But,
want to blame them, but I feel like
I
with
will
what
find
what I feel like what we have in our minds also now what has been ingrained over 20 plus films parang it's so hard to dissociate what you know and what you
Mhm.
expect, and then when you get something like this it's not exactly what you bought the ticket for, 'di ba? Kasi parang you're expecting that super big movie with all those big starts, big ends, big finishes, alam mo yun. And it's not exactly framed in that same way that as it always has been. And I think, that's what people are mixed about. But, I agree with Burns. It's not something I hate. It's not something I super, super love. It sits prettily in the middle of my
for sure.
rankings.
Yeah.
Paula?
Well, I don't hate it also. Like that's definitely not what I felt about the film. But I think I'm more interested in what Eternal sets up than I am about like the whole story. Conversely naman, like this movie kind of made me realize that I'm really not a fan of how Chloe Zhao does narratives. I mean,
Yeah.
like it's great, but
It's true.
but
It's
I'm
really
just
not for everyone,
personally
yeah. It's
not
true.
a fan of hers.
Mhm.
I guess. But yeah, I feel like and Cholo and I had talked about this like privately as well. It would have done better, we think, if it was a show rather than like a 2-hour film, right?
Yep.
Because there's so much you need to set up and so much of these characters that I think you could have explored a little bit better also. But then again, you do have Angelina Jolie, so that's like a pretty big like
Queen, what
ticket,
the hell?
meal ticket to have for like several episodes on. But definitely, the characters would have been much more interesting to see over like a longer period of time.
Sorry, and
I
I
was
think one of the rumors right now is that Tina has her own show yata or something.
oh God bless.
Or will appear
They
in
can
one of
afford
the
Angelina Jolie, yes.
Go
I'm
over
just like,
it.
yes.
parang
Go.
may nabasa lang ako na interview ni Angelina or parang a tweet about that interview saying na we shot something else. Parang something like that, hinting towards more Tina for us in the
I
future.
love her
In the-
so much.
So post Eternals or pre Eternals?
Nobody knows. I mean, you have
Okay.
7,000 years of material
Yeah.
with them.
Because
Even
Tina
parang
was an interesting character.
Yeah.
Like, because the way, and especially how Jolie delicately portrayed her character. Very delicate situation, yeah, but she did it very well.
and
yeah,
I
I'd
mean
watch
the
it.
end card does say Eternals will return. So in
Yeah.
some form
In
or
some way, they will.
they will.
I mean, for
Or-
sure, they've already introduced the Celestials to us, so
Yeah.
it's like a good.
And with the spoiler alert, Harry Styles being there, I mean that's something that they're definitely gonna work towards. Maybe who knows? We don't really know the next phase of the next slate of films pa after the Fantastic Four and
Yeah.
Blade that they've released, and a pantheon of Marvel Disney Plus shows. Paula was saying something pa before we head on to other.
No, about Harry Styles lang, my brother, who is probably the biggest Marvel fan that I know, says that the future of the MCU depends a lot on Harry Styles' character. So I'm interested to see like his range as an actor, I guess, because like from the few minutes or seconds rather that he was in Eternals, grabe talaga yung on-screen chemistry ni Harry Styles. There's something super dynamic about him as a person that I'm just generally excited to see on camera more. Because
Harry
we haven't.
Styles Disney Plus show.
Yeah, just Harry Styles, like a Jonas series, but it's just Harry Styles. I would watch that.
Featuring the
Um,
new Eternals, Niall, Liam,
Not Zayn.
Joey, and the return of Zayn to the Eternal One Direction.
That would be great. But yeah, again, like what I was
I mean,
saying,
it is the multiverse, right?
yeah, who knows, right?
In one
It could.
multiverse, in one universe, One Direction is still 5 members.
Yeah.
And
I mean, Gemma Chan has played 2 characters in the
Exactly.
MCU, so you really never know. I love her, by the way. Like she looks amazing.
She did great.
in
Yeah,
this
she did
film.
good.
Yeah. Again, and like again, spoilers, but Blade, I think, was the biggest thing for me in this film. Just hearing that voice
Oof.
and just knowing where this is going, it's so exciting. A lot of people undervalue what Blade did for the MCU to happen in the first place, because without the Blade series, you wouldn't have had the Iron
Yep.
Man films. So I'm just super grateful that they're going back to that important character in the history of the Marvel films. So yay, Blade.
yeah, so ayun, Eternals. I mean, it's really like a big world that you can play with in future projects. You never know which Eternal can probably pop out in whatever Disney Plus show or ano. Ayun, I feel like, again, the Disney Plus shows aren't necessarily still accessible to everyone, especially to casual fans, unfortunately. So definitely, these are the types of things that you have to do on theatrical films rather than series. And we're gonna see that first, I guess, with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Seeing how they treat Wanda post WandaVision, and happy anniversary to WandaVision, the beginning of that Disney Plus era of Marvel Studios. It's really interesting to see how they approach taking someone who has had their own adventure on the side and then bring them back to the big screen. And may ano naman, and the teaser trailer, it's already there na they mentioned Westview, but how is it exactly gonna be treated, especially with the events of Loki also, and Spider-Man No Way Home, which directly affects Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man No Way Home, again, will definitely be having our own mega episode about that one, because that's a lot to unpack also in just one episode, and people still haven't seen it generally in the Philippines, since people are just at home, unfortunately, at the moment. So the next Disney Plus Marvel Studios show that was just announced was Moon Knight, which released its first trailer earlier, or I mean yesterday, and ang tawag dito, it's another thing to look forward to, and it's coming in March before the Multiverse of Madness. And I'm just really excited to see Oscar Isaac in the MCU. I mean, at some point in time, siguro all the A-list actors would have had a role in the MCU in one form or another. Sino pa ba yung mga wala sa MCU?
Yun nga, like there's so many
Daniel
times.
Radcliffe.
So many
Right.
times I run through my head, sino pa ba ang wala?
Timothy Chalamet isn't there yet.
Daniel Radcliffe.
I'm pretty sure Timothy will end up in some way talaga.
He can be like an celestial or an
Yeah.
eternal. Bagay siya sa ganung role.
Yeah.
Or I don't know.
Actually, even I can see Daniel Radcliffe showing
Exactly.
up. I can see it. Yeah, I can definitely see it.
Just bring
They got
Dan
Jon
Radcliffe.
Snow to show up, so
That was funny seeing the Stark brothers like back together
Oh,
again. Though.
I know.
That was so funny.
And ang ganda rin pala nung ang ganda rin nung parallel narrative ni Cersei and ni ang pangalan ni Gemma Chan sa Crazy Rich Asians, si
Astrid.
Like that narrative of men not parang not being agreeable about the woman's position in the world and their leadership and all that. I found that parallel nice. I saw that on a tweet na parang it's
It's
not
Richard
my
Madden.
parang sabi ni Astrid, it's not my fault na ano, parang
After Icarus said na Ajax shouldn't
Shouldn't
have
have
chosen
chosen you.
her.
yeah, parang what a nice way to like it's like for a nice callback to Crazy Rich Asians if you're a Crazy Rich Asian fan. Well, I'm not
And I
too
love
sure.
that Gemma Chan continuously plays these types of roles, these types
Yeah.
of women also. So that's always like something.
And I mean, they did downplay Cersei's role, no?
Kaya
Like
nga eh.
in the Eternals in general. Like I
Yeah.
think in the movies they wanted her to go on this journey of like seeing her worth before
Yeah.
she became all too powerful. And I think that's a nice narrative to have nga, especially with the diversity of this cast and the world that we live in of having different ideologies even in one family. I think that's yun yung magandang na-explore niya
Yeah.
and that dynamic between a man and a woman in leadership roles. And there's a lot more to explore. I feel like there's 7,000 years worth
7,000
of
years, yeah.
like material that you can just go back to if you wanted to, right?
Really quickly though, but like Barry Cogan. Just
See, the fact that Marvel can get these actors talaga, it's amazing now. Barry Keoghan is so good.
yeah. I hope he's in Dune. Like that's really my hope in life.
Ooh.
Yeah. To play the character opposite Paul Atreides, I feel like that's perfect for him.
And
He has that look perfect for that particular
Oh.
character. Yeah.
that'll be great.
But
Denis. Get on it, Denis.
please. But yeah, going back to Moon Knight, I feel like although like there isn't a lot yet seen in the teaser, what has been I think like the topic of the hot topic about it is Oscar Isaac's accent. Really, it's very Dick Van Dyke and Mary Poppins. If I do say so myself, and I love Oscar Isaac, but there's something wrong about this British accent. It's weird. It's weird.
I was watching some videos, and I guess again para lang to in a way to defend why he sounds like that. It's because yung character ni Moon Knight has a dissociative
It's
disorder.
crazy.
So in a way, it's like to differentiate so that he can act like in a normal voice when he's Moon Knight.
Yeah,
But when
I
he's
hope
not,
so.
we have to
Baka
Ano,
episode 1 lang yun. We
kailangan
don't
natin
know.
tiisin yun, yung boses na yun. Sige, if that means we get to see Oscar Isaac as Moon Knight more,
Oh naman.
sige, fine. But when we have to see that face, so do we have to hear that voice? Well, God's fair, I guess.
God giveth and
Exactly.
God taketh
Not
away.
everyone can have like a hot voice and look hot at the same time. But yeah, that's something to look forward to. Anything else? I feel like as we wrap up this episode, what have you been catching up with in this time na we're back to our quarantine era and just being locked down at home. Personally, I got to watch On the Job, the series, The Missing Eight, and continuation of the first movie, which they converted into 2 episodes. Really, really good things. Really good stuff na people should be talking more about, I feel. But I feel like it's also an issue of accessibility on the material because HBO Go, not necessarily everyone has it. But
Yeah.
I feel like in a sense din kasi medyo at the same time na parang the type of topic that it's talking about is something we're already so desensitized about, or we already know behind our parang in our heads kasi parang when the first On the Job came out, it's something na everyone was like kind of shocked about, or like something refreshing about that political angle. But this time around, it's a daily conversation that we have, although it's nice to see it in that universe also and being fictionalized in a sense. So On the Job, The Missing Eight was great. Other things that you guys saw over the break that you'd like to talk about?
I watched Blues Clues and You. Spent a lot of time again, like with my younger cousin over the holiday, and um, it was something the show itself, Blues Clues, is something I really wanted him to get into because of how much it meant to me as a child, and it was so wonderful to see that it retained everything that I loved about the original and just updated it siguro for a newer generation. And Joshua De La Cruz is a fantastic host for the show. My cousin doesn't like Steve, unfortunately.
Aw.
Yeah, I know. I was so disappointed. But he absolutely adores Josh and wants to
Does
be
Steve
more like
appear a
him.
lot ba?
Not as much as Joe. Joe is there like every other episode or something.
Oh.
Yeah, because he's part of like the town, whereas Steve's job in the show, he's a detective. Just parang pag kailangan lang siya doon. And the actor who plays Steve takes more of a directorial role kasi
Yeah.
in this series. So yeah, it's on Netflix. For anyone with
Oh,
kids.
really?
It's on Netflix
Or if
now?
you- yeah, or if you guys want to watch as well,
Oh.
a couple of episodes. The
Oh.
first season is on Netflix, I think.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, I was surprised. I was surprised to
Wow,
find out
really?
also because I
Okay.
downloaded it when I saw na, oh, meron din pala. But yeah, if you're interested, it's there. It's nice to see Filipino representation as well on some of the episodes. That's great. It's not my recommendation yet, but yeah, Blue's Clues, Blue's Clues and You. I think that's what that kept me busy over the holidays and rewatching all the Spider-Man. That was also fun.
Yes, which we'll probably be talking about in our Spider-Man episode.
Yes.
I don't know why we're gonna be talking about the old movies, but yeah, who knows? Abangan nyo yun next week. But yeah, another thing that I've been rewatching also is the Scream series. I'm in the middle of it as we head into Scream 5, or
Mm,
otherwise known as just Scream
I've
2022.
cream.
5 Cream, correct. Yeah, I mean, rewatching the remastered 25th anniversary version of the original Scream, wow, flawless talaga, and definitely parang stands its ground as one of my favorite horror movies of all time, and it's just really so good. If you have the chance to rewatch that remastered version, you really couldn't find anything. It's just so fun, so intelligent, so funny, and what a lot of people have really patterned their slasher movies after. So Scream, I'm about to watch Scream 3 soon enough. So I have 2 more before the new one. Perns.
Well, yun nga, during my rest, I just kept watching movies na lang, all the new movies. And wala. I think this might be
Nakailan
my
ka na
rest.
sa Letterboxd this year?
Dami. I think I might be closing on my record na I might watch 100 films from 2021. Which is,
Wow.
that's just new ones, new ones. So that's
From
pretty impressive.
2021?
From 2021. Yeah, I think I'm closing on 100. I count it
Wow.
when I'm all done. But yun nga, just because it's already award season na, because the
Yeah.
Golden Globes came and went, we didn't even
I know.
don't even care. But yun nga, like there's only like 4 hard hitters that I haven't watched yet. Just 'cause there's
Gucci.
the only 4 na wala pang kopya online or it hasn't reached cinemas yet are House of Gucci, Licorice Pizza, West Side Story, Nightmare Alley. That's it. That's all I
Yeah.
haven't seen na lang. So I'm like, I have lots of time to do anything else I want. So
Yeah.
because I'm not just watching movies now, I have more time for my series. And because it's January again, all the
Oh wait, and you should congratulate who you've been talking about so many times on this show in Survivor, right?
why have you started watching the ba?
No, but like, diba, you've been rooting for her to win Survivor, and
Oh, but she already won tagal na.
I mean, did she win on parang while we had episodes on? I don't
Yeah,
think.
Prince talked about it.
Did
Yeah.
Did we? Di ko na maalala. Time is just so
Yes, it
weird. I'm sorry.
But yun nga, because it's January, all the DC related shows have started na. So Peacemaker is already
Oh my
here.
God, yes.
It's awesome. Peacemaker is awesome. James Gunn liked my tweet. I'm so happy.
I know, I'm so
Liked my
proud of
tweet.
you.
Oh my god! But even the Arrowverse, some of the Arrowverse shows have come back. The Batwoman and Legends of Tomorrow have come back, and Superman and Lois, which is still the best of the Arrowverse shows right now. So yeah, Flash shows
Peacemaker's
come
so
back for a while.
good. If you loved the Suicide Squad, definitely it takes from that.
I didn't like it.
Talaga,
I
Peacemaker
did.
or the Suicide Squad.
I love the Suicide Squad. I did really appreciate it. It's one of those things that when you take one character who's funny in a group context,
And
but
then
like you
put them
take
in
him on
another.
its own,
Mhm.
I don't really appreciate him that much.
Oh,
I guess
yeah.
that is my yeah. I love James Gunn unhinged, but this felt a little too unhinged for me. I feel like the humor just wasn't like jiving. It really depends on your sense of humor.
Taste level din siya, no?
Yeah. Mm-mm. Yeah,
But
but
if
let's
you,
see. I only watched episode 1, but maybe the next 2 episodes will like get
I
me
mean, when I watched, kasi parang we just really binged 3 episodes
Yeah.
tuloy-tuloy because I just couldn't stop.
Yeah.
And I guess that kind of like campy, super, not just campy, but like really insane and like, balls to the wall vibes.
Literal balls to the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems like it,
It's
yeah.
really, something that I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
Another thing, I really like Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Yes. Yes.
Diba? That was,
I
I mean,
enjoyed
Nga
it.
pala, no? I haven't watched that nga pala.
ang galing ng paggagawa niya. Especially I feel like for the Stranger Things generation, it's a way to appreciate Ghostbusters in a different setting, in a different vibe, and Paul Rudd, period. But generally I had so much fun watching Ghostbusters Afterlife. And I know it's a mixed bag pa rin for people. But personally speaking, I really did enjoy that one. You want to add anything to that, Paula?
I think it says a lot that a lot of my Tito friends who are like really big fans of the original series cried when they watched Ghostbusters Afterlife. There's a lot of touching nostalgic factors to it as well that I think showed how respectful the film was made to the original. So that's great.
It's
And
the No Way Home for Ghostbusters.
a little bit, yeah. Yeah. It was fun. I enjoyed it too.
Ganda. Yeah, those are the things that I enjoyed catching up with. Although ang dami ko rin napanood at least once a day of random things like
Yeah.
watching the whole Cars series again. Yeah, it was really fun. And I just realized after watching Cars 3 how much Cars 2 parang was a detriment to Mater's character because
Yeah,
Mater barely
definitely.
appeared in Cars 3.
Yeah,
random
100%.
random observation.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess anything else that we should be talking about right now?
Recommendations ba, or was that it na?
I guess that's pretty much it.
I have one more, I guess, because I thought
Go.
we were like doing a different segment. I recently binge watched Wheel of Time, which is Amazon's latest like fantasy series, and in my head, it's like their preparation for the new Lord of the Rings series, which is coming this September. So if you're interested in that type of fantasy, it's like Game of Thrones mixed with Lord of the Rings with a dash of Narnia. I feel like that's how I would best like explain what Wheel of Time is. And I started watching Witcher recently as well, and I have to say I enjoyed Wheel of Time much more than I did The Witcher. There's just something about it that I think is much more interesting to me. So if you're into that type of like
It's
fantasy,
Rosamund Pike.
and it's Rosamund Pike, yeah, and Daniel Henney. So yeah, it's cool. I highly recommend it for fantasy hosts. Like,
May isa pa pala ako which I just started literally last night, which is
Drag
Canada's
Race.
Drag Race. And I mean with the announcement of Drag Race UK versus the world, that's something na I wanted to catch up on. And there's just been some breaking news that I think Paula would want to talk about.
Oh my god, like my heart literally just like stopped because those are two things that I absolutely love in life. So Prince just told us that Daniel Radcliffe will be playing Weird Al Yankovic for a biopic, and that 7-year-old me is like screaming into the void because I love both of these people so much and it makes so much sense. Oh my god, Daniel Radcliffe with curly hair is gonna be a sight to behold again. I cannot do it. I'm sorry. It's a very niche thing to okay, I'm done. Okay.
That's
Oh my
very
God.
interesting and very niche.
Okay.
But yeah,
I'm
Canada's
sorry.
Drag Race and UK versus the World is coming, which is the
Yes.
International All Stars of RuPaul's Drag Race, featuring queens from the US, the UK, Canada, Holland, and Thailand, all in one season. So that's gonna be interesting, and that's why I'm catching up with Canada's Drag Race, which is interesting to see somebody else do Drag Race other than RuPaul, being at the parang on the helm of the show. Kind of refreshing then. I mean, it takes a while to like get there, but when they get there, it's pretty fun also.
Yeah.
Because before this, I've only seen all the seasons with the RuPaul, like UK and Down Under. So it's very interesting to see international franchises. And coming
And the
this
queens
year,
in Canada
yeah.
were like amazing. And for the UK versus the world one as well, I think
and
like, they got a
Jujubi
really good
comes
set.
back for
For another set of
the fifth time
RuPaul
na ba?
content.
Fourth time.
She was on
First
of course,
season, All-Stars
2
1.
All-Star seasons.
Pangapat na niya.
Drag You. She was in Drag You.
Right.
And she's gonna be in this one, and she was also in Queens of the World, which is a RuPaul produced show as well. So this is her 6th. So she's completed all of the stones in her RuPaul gauntlet. Yeah.
All she has to do is win.
Yeah, please just win one, Juju.
So, the other queens returning for this one are Mo Hart,
Mo Hart.
previously
Change her
known
name,
as
yeah.
Monique Hart from the US. We also have Cheryl Hole from the UK,
Yeah.
Luhain Drainja, and Baga Chips, Much
Yes.
Bea. And we also have from Thailand, Panjina Heels,
Yes.
who is the host of
Of
Drag Race
Thailand,
Thailand. And we also have a contestant from Drag Race Holland.
Holland.
What's your name? Drag Race.
Familiar, sorry.
Jackie Janey, I think is her name. I haven't seen Holland yet. So
Same.
those are the 9 contestants for RuPaul's Drag Race.
Lemon pa. Lemon
and Jimbo from
Jimbo,
Canada pala.
yeah.
Sorry, I forgot about them. Yeah, so those are the 9 contestants for UK versus the world, and this is the first stop in their International All-Stars franchise. Who knows, they might stop by the Philippines once we have Drag Race alumna from Drag Race Philippines, which
Exciting.
I think is coming mga Q3 this year.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And Drag Den soon as well.
I think Drag Den is coming Q1, Q2.
Yeah, March.
Post-prod na eh.
Yeah, so exciting things. A lot of drag coming our way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess if there's anything else anyone wants to add before we wrap up. So ayun, I guess any last recommendations before we close the show? One thing I really like in the music scene is The Weeknd's album, Dawn
Oh,
FM.
yeah.
Really, really good stuff. Parang came out of nowhere. And if you love the 80s and like listening to the radio with Jim Carrey speaking, and The Weeknd just really providing like good music, Dawn FM, so good. Listen to it. It's, I guess, so far the only music release na I've been super into. 2022, it's still kind of slow at this point, but
It's early yet.
Yep, it's a first release pa lang to really like make a mark at this point. So that's it. That's pretty much it for our start of the year catch up with our Encanto, Eternals, Harry Potter, and stuff we've been watching and would like to recommend. Of course, we are here on radyo-katipunan 87.9 FM every week. Thanks to the RK fam as always, and you can listen to our previous episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you stream your podcasts. And we will see you all next week for our Spider-Man No Way Home special. A lot of exciting things to be talking about. We'll be talking about in that episode. So see you all next time and goodbye.
Bye, guys.
Happy New Year.
This is your stop for all things pop. Catch our all-around pop culture geek, Cholo Sediaren, as he throws in some dose of what's poppin' and what's hot in the pop culture scene here on Popcorn. Munch in with us every Thursdays from 4 to 6, only here on radyo-katipunan 87.9 FM. Radyo Katipunan. News, insights, inspiration. Radyo Katipunan. Down from the hill and down to the world. Radyo Katipunan. The voice of the Blue Eagle.
Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Voice of the Blue Eagle, kami di mapipigil sa pagbabalitang tumpak at tama. Buhay at tenista sa loob sa labas ng square.